Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. As part of the Dodgers Daily Network, as you can see on your screen, fans, tonight we have a very, very, very special guest, a good friend of mine, a young man, I will say, that actually probably has given me the most help of anybody in this industry. I'm forever indebted to him, and he is just a wonderful, wonderful person. And I think you guys all know that because probably most of the people that are watching right now know exactly who this is on your screen, Mr. Tim Rogers of Dodgers Blue Madness. And then obviously Dodgers 2080 and formerly of Dodgers Nation. Tim, how the hell are you, man?
Oh, well, much better after
Yeah.
after that bottom of the ninth, man. I tell you, I was on a doom mission on the internet machine there. Still kind of doomy, but at least it feels better. But hey, thanks for all the accolades. I appreciate it. And I know both you and I pass all the love down to others and have helped a lot of others
We do.
get rolling. So that's it's all good. Appreciate it though. Appreciate you a lot.
No doubt about it. Yes. And, I talked to Coach Holt, Coach Barikoff, and all sorts of different types of people throughout the week. And through 162, you play all different types of teams, really good teams, really talented teams that aren't having a good year, maybe less talented teams that are having a good year, all different types of teams at 162. And the one constant is every single team has major league players on it. We saw that with the Rockies. We've seen that with different teams throughout the year. So no game in the major leagues is ever easy to win. We saw that this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Mookie Betts said it way back in spring training. Every game or every series is a World Series for the team that they're playing.
Yep.
For the Rockies, it's obviously a big deal, and we've seen that all year. I mean, teams come gunning, they're ready to go, and the Dodgers are, they take the 162 game mentality, which they have to. Even though things are getting a little tight for some of us.
No doubt. And you're talking about the Padres because the thing is, it's kind of interesting. Of course, you don't want to be in it. You want that first round bye because if you don't get it, you're going to be playing probably the Diamondbacks and then the Padres. Whereas I think if you can just finish ahead in the NL West and then finish second as far as the overall best record in the National League, you're going to avoid all that mess and have to. Now, the Brewers are really good, don't get me wrong. But I think I would take that road, although I don't think if you're Dave Roberts, you can say, hey, guys, let's intentionally finish second. But I think you can kind of map some things from a process perspective that you would be okay with it if that happened. I should put it that way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, and something to remember, I saw it on Twitter. The Padres do have the tiebreaker. So there is no game 163.
Right.
That's important. The Dodgers need to actually – next Sunday, need to be ahead by one game or more. Hopefully this is taken care of very quickly. Magic number 4, Padres are coming to town. That is, I got to be honest, that's a very good team. They've been, best record in baseball since early May. And their pitching is I'll say it, they're better than the Dodgers in terms of pitching.
No doubt.
The Dodgers have, we see the injured list. We got
especially if Yamamoto throws like he did tonight. I mean, he hasn't been good early in the last 2 outings. He got away with it 2 outings ago. Not today. I mean, he wasn't sharp. They weren't swinging at a splitter, Tim.
Yeah, and that you're right. That those first 2 starts back, there were some things where it's like, hey, there was a lot of luck.
Yeah,
and in today's game, the luck didn't go his way because the first 2 hits were just they were off the fists on both of them. Those were pitches good pitches, but the luck did not happen. He walked more than he should be. He's still coming back from it. And he did come back early because he didn't want to pitch in the minor leagues. So he's doing his work in the major leagues. He'll get one more start before the playoffs. And, he's obviously really important. And, of course, having that bye to reset the rotation. They got some veteran arms in that bullpen that really need some rest. Shout out to Ben Kasparius.
No doubt. Big Ben.
Oh, man. Friend of the show. Both our shows. Just for him to burn those 3 innings, that was so important. My goodness. And that's what, you and I are not we're not surprised. And it just seems like they wanted to keep old Ben under wraps for forever. Uh-oh. There you go.
Yeah, you're seeing what they're seeing now with the video of Big Ben.
Yeah. And I mean, literally, I interviewed him like July of 2022 at Rancho. And then like within a couple days, he was gone. So I was fortunate to get that interview. But for him to go in there and do his thing, there was you could see a little nerves there in that first inning. But that's what you need. You need a guy to come in and do that type of work, burn innings. They need that all year. You see what the Padres did when they traded for what was it, Martin Perez.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's really not that good, but shoot, he goes and dominates the White Sox because he's Martin Perez and they're a really bad team. You need guys like that to just go burn innings sometimes. And Landon Knack has been really good at that. I wish they would let him sometimes pitch another inning here and there, but they seem to like to pull him usually after 5. He's gotten 6 a couple times, but those innings eaters are so necessary these days.
I would totally agree with that. And Landon Knack's a guy who was the only pitcher in Triple Oklahoma City in 2023 that actually went 7 innings. So, hey, there's been some big moments as this season has not been easy, man. I mean, it's just been seems like one gut blow after the other. And there's been a couple of different occasions, last Sunday night or a couple Sunday nights ago, tonight. Seems like Sundays have been like the big dramatic days for the Dodgers. But there's been a couple of different occasions where it seems like the Dodgers have been able not just to go just kind of full-blown in retreat and let the Padres catch them. And so I think the Dodgers fans, as much as anything, they need to respect the fact that this team fights.
Yeah, that's something I noticed even since the beginning of the year. There's been a couple times that they haven't, and in general, but in general, they've had a lot more fight that I've seen than last year. That's for sure, and the year before. And for our multi-jillion-dollar top of the order to do what they did in the bottom of the ninth was obviously amazing. And but that's at the end of the day, but that's what they're paid for, and it was really good for them, I think, going into the postseason. And I considered that game a must-win today.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
3 against San Diego, and then let's not forget they go to Colorado, and we really don't want to be playing a wild card series after the nightmare of the Mile High City. That's just so bad. Players have problems adjusting back to that. So today was a must-win game, and I'm very, just still kind of blown away on how that all occurred. Down 5-1, and they ended up winning 6-5. I mean, heck yeah.
I'm gonna get a little greedier than you. Okay, we obviously want the Dodgers to win the NL West pretty badly. Huge 3-game series, day off tomorrow. Huge 3-game series with the Padres. I was listening to the broadcast today, and this I had never even realized this, but kind of the finer deals of the process of the season. Yamamoto scheduled to pitch in 6 days. That's next weekend. So if he makes that start, Tim, and the Dodgers don't win the NL West and have to play a wild card, he is not going to be able to pitch in that wild card series. Now what?
Oh, man.
So not only do the Dodgers really need to win the NL West, they need to do it in a way that they cannot pitch Yoshinobu Yamamoto in his next start. This needs to be Yoshinobu Yamamoto's last start of the regular season. If that doesn't happen, the Dodgers are in trouble.
Oh, yeah. And who comes up after Yamamoto? Who's going on Tuesday? Is it – I can't remember the order, who the next pitcher was.
Well, let me look right here, Tim. This is – so let me actually pick that up. If you'll just keep talking about Yamamoto and just winning the NL West and that type of scenario, it has actually not been announced, to be determined. The Dodgers do this quite a bit, and then the Padres have not determined their pitcher either. But, yeah, I mean, it's – so not only need to win the NL West, or Tim, you need to do it – you need to have it sewed up before next weekend.
Absolutely, because Flaherty's in there somewhere too.
Yes.
We got to have, Yamamoto and Flaherty are well, I would consider at the moment, I got to go Flaherty's 1 because Yamamoto hasn't gotten past 4 innings yet.
I would agree.
Even though I'm encouraged by it, and he's got another start to push it a little bit, but he still seems he's got spring training in him a bit. And but we did see, and
that's a good way to put it. That's a really good way to put it. Yeah.
So hopefully he's ready. But if you remember, his last start before he went on the IL was against the Yankees, and that was a playoff type atmosphere, and he really rose to the occasion. We want to win the World Series. We need that guy.
We do.
That's the guy.
Well, yeah, especially with Glass now out, no doubt, and Bobby Miller not pitching the way he's capable of. What do you expect out of Buehler? Kind of, who knows?
Yeah, that's really it. He seems, no matter what, even if he ends up having a decent start, he seems to really struggle to find himself in that first inning. I mean, he's still not. This isn't the same guy. Everything's changed for him. The velocity's not there. The command's not there. He's not the same guy. He's more of a kind of that journeyman type guy, but he has his moments of effectiveness. But I think he's probably their game 3 starter. That's what I think they're going to do.
I agree. I keep hearing the Dodgers fans tell me, Landon, guys, when have the Dodgers ever chosen, not necessarily Landon Knack, that name, but just the young guy Landon Knack versus the guy with the proven track record, Walker Buehler?
Yeah, when
have the Dodgers ever chosen Landon Knack over Walker Buehler, ever? Yeah,
last year they chose Lance Lynn.
You had to bring that up. Damn it, Tim. I finally have gotten over that. You had to bring that up, damn it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I got to tell you, Casey.
Oh, I was so pissed. I was so pissed.
Oh, they can break some of this history. I'm gonna bring it up on my podcast until this is over, because we can't do this.
I'm not watching your podcast.
No, it's definitely yesterday I was talking about the looking at the playoff roster. I don't like what I see.
Yeah.
Well, I like, from a position player, I'm very happy with the position players. It's the overall, how are we gonna piece this together? I mean, they're like, we really need Clayton Kershaw to be healthy,
Yeah. Or just if Buehler will pitch good. So here's the deal: if Flaherty, I've said this, and I like to do these types of things in mathematical equations because it calms my nerves, if that makes sense, because it gives me a game plan to go, okay, well, if we just hit this target and that target, we're okay. And so this is all in our own hands. We just have to do what we're supposed to do. That makes me feel better about the game of baseball. So what has to happen is Yamamoto and Flaherty have to win their starts. If both of them do, if Yamamoto and Flaherty don't both win their starts, it's going to be tough for the Dodgers. So to me, there's no real middle ground, because if they do win both their starts, then it's going to be almost impossible for the Dodgers to lose. Because if Flaherty and Yamamoto both win their starts, now all Buehler and Knack need to do is win one out of those 2 games. Yeah. And the Dodgers are going to win their series. Does that make sense? So the one thing I do like about the way that this is setting up is all you have to do is win the games with your 2 best pitchers.
Right. Yeah, and that's what in 2022 that's what they needed to do. They had, Kershaw and Urias in LA, and they dropped one of those suckers.
Yeah, they did.
And that put them right up against the wall.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and so that has to happen. And I think those are things that you go, you know what? That's what you make these trades for. That's what you'd make these signings for, is to go, I've got my 1 and 2, and if the offense shows up just a bit, obviously more than last year, if they show up like I think the potential is there for, I think they should be fine. They're going to have to deal, though, with, some upstart team, and we just know this history of teams that have the bye are all of a sudden cold. Now, now this is the good news.
Short history.
Yeah. Well, teams coming off of that and they're flat.
Yeah.
And so now we go, well, now the Dodgers, the last 2 years have won the divisions, in July and August, pretty much. I mean, it's been over by then.
Yeah.
This year, it's still not sewn up. It's still in doubt. I mean, the Padres come in and sweep. All of a sudden, we got a real problem.
We got a problem.
So there's no guarantee there. But so the Dodgers, I was hoping that they would have it clinched by today. That was kind of the way I talked all year. But just to keep them competitive and keep them hungry, now they better be hungry, because it's going to be a battle until that magic number is 0.
See, I was talking about with Coach Holt. I think the Dodgers have reached, and they haven't done any of this intentionally, it's just happened. I think the season has worked out to a perfect balance. You know, a couple years ago, you had the very close race, and then you had the grueling series with the Giants, and it just seemed like all the energy was sucked out of the Dodgers after that series with the Giants. So that was a little bit too much on the competitive side.
Yeah, just
I think last year was too lackadaisical, but this year has been competitive enough to keep your focus. Like today was a lazy day, man. There was no focus to today.
I know.
But there was a point where the Dodgers went, man, we got to kick this crap in gear. We're getting ready to lose, right? And so that was kind of a good focus to me. At least that's the way I saw it today. So I think it's kept the Dodgers focused enough, but it hasn't been so crazy competitive to where you're going to feel exhaustion mentally by the time the season's ended. I think that part of it's been perfect.
Yeah, just got to grab one of these games.
Yeah.
That's, one of three. 2 of 3 obviously clinches it. And I would much rather be like that because then we can deal with the Yamamoto stuff. He can go pitch 2 innings.
And Colorado's you can get your guys off your feet, man. I mean, There's a lot of jet lag after a Colorado series in Colorado that you don't want to have.
Shoot, man. Leave Ohtani, Betts, Freeman.
Yes.
Leave them at home.
Just leave them in LA. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just.
Or play them the first game and then send them back, whatever you feel like they need to do. Yeah, I agree.
It would be really nice to be clinched by Colorado. No doubt they can win 2 out of 3. It's just that exhaustion of what we've seen in the history. What it did to Kenley Jansen's heart. That's how
right.
I've never played in mile-high weather, fortunately. Well, I did play in Guadalajara or Mazatlan. Guadalajara. And that was pretty high. I didn't notice the difference there. Then again, that's what happens when you ride the pine. But it's a huge difference maker. And I know guys are chasing some numbers. Last year, and I think the numbers chasing got in the way a little bit. Mookie was chasing 40. And he never got it because he didn't hit a home run in September.
Right.
Freddie was chasing all the doubles. And he, that just seemed to be such a focus. And those guys both were done by the time the playoffs came around. Now, my concern with Freddie this year has nothing to do with anything on the field. This guy is still dealing with the trauma of dealing with his son. And people forget that. I see people going, he's all bummed about Jason Hayward. No, it's his son. That's perspective, folks. Get a perspective. The man almost lost his son. And now his son is still going through rehab to learn how to walk again. There's a lot on this man's mind. And I felt so bad for him hitting those 2 double plays. And but it was even good to see him. He got that key RBI later in the game. And so, I think Freddie's got perspective that's different now. I think Mookie's got something to play for, something to prove. And Ohtani, the guy who wants to go down as the greatest baseball player of all time. Let's do it. Now's the time.
Yep. You want to know what Ohtani doesn't want to go down as? The greatest baseball player never to have any success in the postseason.
Exactly.
Here's I haven't really talked a whole lot about the 50-50 and the personal accomplishments, and because to me right now, now's not the time. Yeah, it's neat, it's cool, it's the greatest season we've ever seen. Fine. And if I was Ohtani, this is how I'd be viewing this. Right. There will be a time in December where I can sit back and go, that's pretty kick-ass, man. I had a great season. Right now is the time to hit home runs to tie the game in the 9th and win for your team. The 50-50 stuff, as unbelievable as it is, that has to take a back seat until the Dodgers win a World Series. My opinion. Am I off there?
No, you're not off at all. I was really happy that he got the 50-50. It's an amazing accomplishment. But, man, I still remember postseason 2014 when they're doing the MVP awards. And that's after Kershaw gave the Matt Adams home run.
Yeah.
And watching that MVP thing going, I really don't care. I love Kershaw. I want him to get the award. But it's like I'm still bitter about the season. I wonder if he kind of feels some of that. I want them to be able to, put it away. But to be on those big stages and to win the awards like Hershiser did and Gibson did, and then also to win the World Series, that's how you do it. You win that World Series and all those other awards, Sportsman of the Year, all those types of things are beautiful, and it just helps everyone remember 1988 was an amazing season, and now we can see why. We got the MVP, we got the Cy Young, we got the Athlete of the Year, all those types of things. Let's see that this year.
And it all mattered because it tied in with a world championship. Exactly. I think that tie-in is like, as an athlete, I'm just telling you, man, winning is the most important thing. Individual accomplishments are great. But if you're a great player on a crappy team, I mean, maybe Anthony Rendon likes that, I don't know. But most players don't. And so he is doing everything he can. I've said this a million times, of all the things that are unbelievably Hall of Fame about Shohei Ohtani. Everything he does on the field is amazing. The most Hall of Fame thing that he has done for this team is brought a sense of, damn it, we're going to win a World Series, and I'm going to do everything I can from my part to make sure that we are able to do this. That's been the absolute best thing that Ohtani's brought to the Dodgers, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with the contract.
Yes.
The permits, right? And then after he signs, first guy on the field, and then next day, Shohei Ohtani's at Dodger Stadium, and all of a sudden you start seeing Gavin Lux showing up and some other guys.
Right.
And then we have Fan Fest on the Saturday. The next day, Shohei Ohtani's in Arizona. He's on the field getting to work. So it's been impressive the whole way. And Kershaw's always set that tune, that tone also. He's always been, still, I get, and when I'm blessed with a media pass, I get there at 1:30. There's one guy on the field, and it's number 22.
Yep. Don't forget, he also recruited Yamamoto. He recruited Tyler Glass now. Yeah. And he just, whenever the Dodgers signed him, I said it at the time, if you go back to my live feed, I was so excited. I think I was screaming the entire live feed. I was so excited about it. And it was, yes, we're getting Ohtani, but it was, it's kind of like in college football and recruiting, you get that 5-star quarterback. And then what happens is that 5-star quarterback then all starts recruiting everybody else. Right. Next thing you know, you have the best recruiting class because he's done all the recruiting for you. So you knew that as soon as the Dodgers got Ohtani, all the other free agent pieces would fall into place.
Right. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to play with Shohei Ohtani?
Yeah.
Except another DH. That's about it.
Right. Absolutely.
Poor JD Martinez, That was a great season, JD. Adios.
Yeah. Hey, man, we have a great crowd logging in, Tim. I mean, the crowd is just ridiculously large right now. This is so much fun. And I knew they would be as soon as everybody found out that Tim Rogers is going to join the show. And then we were reunited here again to talk some wonderful Dodgers baseball about a great game. So, Daniel Berry Sports Highlight, good evening, Craig. Good evening, Noah Ortega. Ohtani reminding the haters that he is clutch. No doubt, Mr. Classic, what's up? He says, what's up to you, Tim? Mr. Classic does. Good evening, Cole. Mr. Classic, thank you so much for joining. Yang Yi is in the house tonight. This has to be the most critical, dramatic win of the year. You mentioned that, Tim. And as we move down to the comments, we have just so many people logging in. Let me get to some more here. Hey, Norm Lee, Shohei is the team's best hitter, best base runner, and arguably their best pitcher. The rest of the roster can't keep up. That's Norm Lee.
Norm comes in with some really great takes on the channel too, and it's amazing. The guy is. So little insider stuff, and my channel knows this. When I went to the press conference for Shohei Ohtani, I got a chance to talk to Joe Davis, and Joe goes, I talked to my wife, and I go, I'm introducing Babe Ruth.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it's that big. It is that big. Now it's time to get some real hardware in that trophy case to go along with his WBC championship, which that was one of the things that made me want him more, was how great he performed in that tournament. Because that tournament is bigger to that Team Japan than probably Team USA. I know Team USA was into it, but it's a different level. And I even wonder if might even be a bigger thing than the World Series for some of those players. But
it won't be for Ohtani. No way.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. But, he hit 462, I think, in that WBC and closed it out. Now this is what legends are made of. And now's his chance. he might have to carry this team a little bit, especially when it's one of those, Walker Buehler starts, or it's Walker Buehler part 3, or part 2 or whatever. It's not the same guy. But yeah, I'm still blown away. And for Mookie to do what he did, I hate to say it, that injury was a blessing in disguise in so many different ways for Mookie. It got him off his feet, and it got Shohei Ohtani in the leadoff spot.
I agree. I think, too, between Mookie, viewing Shohei, jealousy is the wrong word.
Yes.
But I think Mookie is such a dog that we talk all the time, Tim, the best teams have those very positive, if you will, they have inner competitions with each other. Like Mookie wants to be the best player on the team. So does Shohei Ohtani. So it's like, oh yeah, well you did that. Well, watch this.
Yeah.
And so I think Mookie feeds off of the greatness of Ohtani, and he wants, not that Mookie wants the spotlight or anything, because he's not that type of personality. But I think some of the criticisms of Mookie in the past is that, hey, yeah, he likes the numbers. He kind of coasts. He's, whether they win or lose, maybe it doesn't matter to him as much. Now, I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying I've heard that said about him quite a bit. But I think watching Ohtani in front of him in the lineup, I think that lights a fire with Mookie Betts quite a bit. I think that internal competition's good.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I think for these guys, for guys like Mookie and for Freddie, this is a chance to build a huge legacy.
It is. It absolutely is. Great point.
They're going to have the stats. I think both Freddie and Mookie are going to be Hall of Famers with their stats. But to really build that first ballot, wow, he was one of the greats. Get some multiple championships. Get a World Series MVP. I already got, so the NLCS MVP, if they get there, is going to be Teoscar. All right, I laid that out in spring training, so that's already taken. That's already
Let's
taken.
Let's go, baby.
But these guys have a chance to really lay out some legacy. And we know, Clayton Kershaw's legacy is tarnished because of the playoffs.
Which is why he's still here, probably a large reason. He just didn't want to quit on that note.
Yeah, and I'm so glad he didn't quit on that note. And if he can somehow redeem himself, but I just don't know. Is this stuff going to be any better than it was last year? I don't know.
Is it better than the other option? That's my only issue about him and legacy guys like that. We talked about with Walker Buehler, Landon Knack. I don't want the Dodgers to put. I love Clayton Kershaw. I'm going to struck down lightning. I've said this 2 or 3 times. Don't put him out there unless he's your best option. Now, if he is, great. But don't put him out there just because he's a legacy. That's my problem with the situations like that, or concerns, I should say.
Right. I would think he'd have to go and pitch in Colorado.
Yeah.
And have good stuff. Not just, wow, he pitched 5 innings and gave up 1 run. Those are nice numbers, but how was his, stuff?
The process.
All those types of things. How was that stuff? Because he had good numbers last year in September, but his stuff was rated really low.
Yeah, right.
And in the playoffs, it gets amplified. Because you're not playing against the bad teams. You're playing against all really good teams with really good players that are going to light you up if you don't have your stuff. So yeah, that's been my thing this year. I just want him to earn it. I know you and I have talked about that. We've seen guys just seem to be given spots, whether it's regular season or whatever. And you see a guy just sit down in the minors and go, why is he in the minors? I'm going to use Cody Hosey because I think he got screwed this year. I think he should have been up to play third base when Max Muncy was out for those 3 months. He deserved a chance, or Lipsius even before that. But they didn't do it. They just kept going, throw the same guys out. Chris Taylor was hitting 100. Let's keep throwing Chris Taylor out there and all that type of stuff. And Kiki wasn't hitting either. Now, I'm not saying that you cut those guys, but you got to at least give these kids a chance. And Hunter Fiducia finally getting real at bats in the major leagues.
I can hit.
Even Kasperius. How long are you going to wait for him to get on the mound? And so, and they did that last year in the playoffs. We're not going to rehash that too much anymore.
You already did it once to me, damn it.
I
Tim,
know.
stop doing that.
Yeah, but even in 2022, they had compromised players out there that were not
Yeah,
healthy.
right.
Justin Turner was not playoff worthy.
Agree.
CP3 wasn't. Even Gavin Lux had his neck issue, and guys like Outman or Vargas and didn't play, or one of them wasn't even on the roster. I think it was Outman wasn't even on the roster.
Yeah.
You just have healthy guys out there to be competitive. So it just seems they've always kind of played. Doc's got to have his guys out there and all that type of stuff. The David Peralta's playing out there. Yeah, I'm done. Those are things that just obviously light me
Trace
up.
Thompson.
Yeah. What the heck?
I mean, yeah, it's like that's too obvious. I mean,
I had forgotten. Now you're bringing that back up. Thanks.
There you go. Take that, Tim. 2-1.
I really like Trace Thompson, but dang, man, he's starting a game in the playoffs. And gosh darn it, man.
Hey, man, what a crowd we have logging in. Mr. Classic says Aaron Judge is now at 55 home runs. Wow. Ben Kasparius was great. Hey, before we get to some more comments, yes, Ben Kasparius getting out of that bases loaded jam, 1 out, and throwing his fastball, by the way, which hasn't always been his best pitch. That's impressive. I know he hit 97 at least once, and he just said, hey, guys, here it is. I'm Ben Kasparius, and I trust my fastball. That is a big leap for Ben. That was always been the leap that he's needed to take to become a consistent and very good major leaguer. So that obviously was, you're going to remember the walk-offs, but the Ben Kasparius performance was gigantic. I'll tell you another thing. Right before Freddie Freeman got that hit in the 8th, I'm thinking, okay, even if you don't score again, the Dodgers have to figure out a way just to get a couple of guys on base to get the lineup turned back over to Ohtani. Right. So even though the Dodgers didn't score, the fact that the bottom lineup, I know Freddie got the hit to cut it in half, which was huge, but then you got a couple more guys on base, which then turned the lineup back over to Ohtani to lead the lineup off. So if Freddie doesn't get that hit and you're like, what, at the 5 hole? Now you're 5, 6, 7 hole, and that game is entirely different. So those at-bats, the small things that you don't remember, the team at-bats where you didn't score but you got on base, those things are huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when you're a rookie, I think the guy was still a rookie, the pitcher, and you go, well, it's the 9th, and this is the most important game of the year for the Dodgers now, and I got to face Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman without giving up a run to get my save. That's a tall task. And, and during the playoffs, that's going to happen where that moment is going to capture in some pitcher's mind. And he's going to have to deal with that.
Yep.
And if the Dodgers are doing their stuff, this offense, I really like a lot of the pieces in this lineup. We haven't talked, really since the Dodgers got Tommy Edman. I like that guy a lot, especially when he's batting from the right side. He's obviously a bit better there. But yeah, just the fact that he can play a really good center field and a great shortstop and a great second base, that helps the lineup so much. Max Muncy being back, that guy makes the difference. I mean, 2021, when he got hurt in that last game, I didn't say it anywhere. I knew it was over. They weren't going to win anything without Max Muncy in that lineup. And just the lineup is longer. Miggy Rowe is playing out of his mind.
Gavin Lux has been hitting the ball well.
Yeah, it's back down though again, so I'm getting a little nervous there. And even Andy Pages, when he's getting a chance to play, he's hitting the ball really good too. So I think the Dodgers. When I was looking at the playoff rosters for the position players, Kiermaier, Pages, and Taylor, or 2 of those 3 guys make it, and one of them doesn't. And I wonder what.
I say Kiermaier's the odd man out, only because you already have the good defense in Tommy Edman, so that defense only guy in center field is not as valuable as it was whenever Andy Pages was the everyday center fielder. And Andy Pages is your guy I think you go to off the bench as a pinch hitter.
Yeah, and also when you have if it's a lefty, you could put Mookie at second. They did that the other day, and you put Pages in right. Those are possibilities. I think it also depends. This happened with the last year with the matchups where they didn't keep Rosario on the bench because the Diamondbacks had all right-handed starters. And so I think that'll matter also with Kiermaier. If they're facing a team with a bunch of right-handers, they're still going to go left-handed hitting veteran. Here we go. He's in the lineup.
Yeah, right.
I hope they don't play that. I hope it's merit-based. That's all I want. If Kiermaier all of a sudden starts hitting the ball, Lux can start hitting the ball, it's all good. But if they're not hitting, I don't want them taking at bats. You got to. This is. I know that Doc doesn't like doing this. Man, that the playoffs are all about the hot hand.
Yeah, no doubt. It's all results based. The process part of decision making's over. It's all about results at that moment, and that's what you're talking about. The hot hand is the one that's producing the results. That's the guy you have to go with. Hey, if somebody gets their feelings hurt, get the hell out of here. We're trying to win a world championship. It's that simple.
Exactly, man. That's the way it is, and that's playoff baseball. And that's what you do when you sign a contract with the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. It is about results, and it needs to be like
go play for the Angels if you don't want it to be that way. Right?
Oh man, yeah.
That was hard. Sorry.
Those guys. What a disastrous ownership. Dodgers had to deal with a bad owner, of course, with McCourt, and it took a lot to get rid of him. It started, part of it was fans they started to scale back in 2011.
Yeah.
I think the Angels are going to have to do that. But, man, it's going to be hot and heavy at Dodger Stadium next week.
It is.
I won't be making it up there, but I'm sure plenty of people from San Diego will go up there. It's going to be – they're going to come in those ugly brown and yellow and not Neapolitan, Spumoni-looking uniforms, Hey, look, just come on, Casey. Look at the aesthetic today. Dodger baseball with the Dodgers' beautiful white uniform.
Yeah.
On a Sunday afternoon. How baseball is that versus those?
It's more than that. It's American. I mean, it's like I am in America right now. I'm watching this. It makes me feel like an American.
Like salute, man.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. Hey, Norm Lee says he thinks the team should go to a bullpen game instead of a number 4 starter. I think that would eliminate Landon Knack.
I think they'll do that. I'm not.
So no
sure.
Knack.
I'm not sure how much in favor of that I am, but I think they'll do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's the Dodgers.
It's the Dodgers. That's what they do. So where does that leave Knack? What role?
You've got to have somebody that's a long man. You cannot go and have
So he's part of that game.
Yeah, 3 starting pitchers for your other guys, and then 10 one-inning guys. That's not good enough for when there is a couple days off in this thing. But the Dodger bullpen there's a lot of fragile arms in there. I mean, Blake Trinan, Joe Kelly, right there. Those are two of the top ones. Daniel Hudson, I think, who is fried right now. I think what a nice season he had, but that guy's not getting people out. He's just not.
Well, he hadn't pitched in 2 or 3 years. I mean, he's probably
dead. He's had a really good year, but I think he's just tired.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yang Yi says it'll be Knack or Flaherty for the opener. It's not going to be Knack over Flaherty. That's not even going to be a question. It's not going to be Knack over Yamamoto. And the question is it going to be Knack over Buehler? And I think we're in agreement, Tim and I. We've watched the Dodgers enough to think that not necessarily if it's the right decision, but we do think it will be the decision to choose Buehler over Landon Knack. So as a Dodgers fan, you might as well just root for Walker Buehler to be the best version of Walker Buehler that he can be, because I think that's what you're going to get. Well, Fernando was selected back in the day to be the season opener, yes. Tony Gonsolin, do you think he plays any factor?
I didn't get a chance to look at his numbers yesterday. I mean, I saw the stats, but I didn't get a chance to watch him pitch. I missed the timing, and I wanted to watch it. It wouldn't surprise me because as it going down that list. I mean, do you try to go with Gonsolin over Brent Honeywell?
I don't at all. There's too much unknown right now.
Yeah, but I wouldn't surprise me if they did. But they also haven't stretched him out. He's up to 3 innings.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that guy last year obviously he pitched way longer than he had to because they were just out of pitching, and he should have gotten his surgery earlier. But his stuff was so degraded. I'm trying to remember when he was he was good, like at the beginning of 2022, because after the All-Star break in 2022, his stuff really started to degrade.
He's got to be at least 96 with the fastball. I mean, if he's not 95, 96, it's going to be tough for him. So this year, Tony Gonsolin has 3 starts, and the last start he went 3 innings. He's gone 2 innings, 2.2, and then 3 innings. And so they have worked him up kind of like they did Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He could be a factor there, but I just don't like the first performance you see of a guy in a major league mound for the entire year. Hey, there you go, man. Go get you some of that playoff time, right? I mean, woo.
Well, and that's what Colorado needs to be for. I agree.
I agree.
You got to earn it at least a bit. I mean, my gosh, at least go out there once.
Yeah.
And prove that you got your stuff. And if you can go do well in Colorado, okay. That sounds like maybe you need to be on the staff. But at the same time, Tony Gonsolin's playoff history is awful.
Yep. Because his type of pitching where, hey, throwing that splitter and all that and not overpowering guys. Whenever you feel a little bit of nerves and you're having to locate and be pinpoint perfect, that gets a lot harder to do in crunch times. I told my kids, and this may sound kind of negative, but it's really not if you understand the content behind it. I always tell my kids, hey, you're always a lot dumber than you think when you're under pressure. Trust me, you forget a whole lot of crap when you're under pressure, right? So the point to that is you better damn well be over-prepared. Be so prepared that when you get stupid under pressure that you will not forget what to do. So that's kind of what I'm talking about with pitchers like Tony Gonsolin is when their margin for error already is very, very, very thin, then you add a layer of pressure that the playoffs add, and then you add the fact that he hasn't pitched a whole lot this year. Hey, he may go out there and throw up zeros and it may work out great, but I'm telling you, the coach and me, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to watch. I'm going to be like, oh, my God, what are we – I mean, it's just going to be one of those deals, right?
Yeah, I agree. And these guys – I wish Dodger fans still haven't learned, and the Dodgers haven't learned. They have not – I threw the tweet out. When's the last time the Dodgers brought back a guy from Tommy John successfully? Because Dustin May that didn't work.
Good question.
Because I think the last time was Buehler in 2015.
Yeah, good question. That's a great question, Tim.
These guys come back and they're not sharp at all.
Yeah, they're not sharp. It doesn't feel the same. The velocity is usually there, but the location and command's not because nothing feels the same.
Right. And so there's absolutely no guarantees. There are some flukes that happen. But in general, it takes a long time. I mean, when Dustin May came back last year, whenever he came back, he wasn't sharp.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he got hurt again, which is awful. But, was it late 2022 he came back, I think, Dustin May? I'm trying to remember. But he wasn't sharp. None of that stuff was there.
Yes, it was because I saw him in Oklahoma City and actually sat next to his mom, his aunt, and all of his family. And by the way, they're big fans of Dustin May.
Oh, yeah. They should
They're from Texas, I think it's Alito. And, man, like it was like a Tuesday night in Oklahoma City, which there was like 3,500 people there. Right. And they were giving the umpire hell. It was awesome, man. I loved it.
That is cool, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's like travel ball parents again.
It was. It exactly was. It's like, we even do this in professional ranks too, right? Okay, great. Yeah. This is fantastic.
No, I think Cody Bellinger is the name that comes to mind with parents like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't bounce back very well, and it takes a while. So I'm not counting on Gonsolin. I think Kershaw has maybe better odds of being a contributor, but I'm not even counting on that. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. They got to do it. They got to do it in Colorado, or I don't want to see them on the playoff run.
Yeah. You're putting a lot of stock in Colorado that I personally wouldn't, but it is what it is. I mean, it's kind of the spring training.
They just got to play.
Yeah, right.
They literally got to go pitch in a real major league game before they come out.
Yeah. Mr. Classic, really appreciate the wonderful comments. Says Casey and Tim, y'all together. Best Dodgers prospect channel, that we should do a show together. We actually used to do that with the Dodgers prospects, but life kind of got in the way of that as we moved on with that. But hey, history, man, 08-28, Rams win. That's a good thing. I'm not really a Los Angeles Rams fan. I have really no reason to be. So I know a lot of LA fans have kind of converted. But yeah, Yang Yi, I know it's cliche, but let's take one game at a time and one series at a time. That should be the mentality in the playoffs, no doubt about it. And hey, really, to be honest with you, I'll go even more specific than that. What you'll hear in a dugout a lot in big games, you won't hear what you're going to hear is win this inning. Yep. Just win every inning. So let's win this inning, guys. Yep. So what happens is it's so pressurized. You put such small windows of goals together that it focuses your players. So the goal in a playoff setting is win the inning that is in front of you, not the game, the inning that's in front of you.
Right. That's all you control, what you can control. I mean, go out and execute when you have those opportunities. Focus on that next at bat. You know, when you strike out, you got to flush that thing, and hopefully no swirling of it's that toilet bowl thing. You know, player gets in that and they just start swirling. They got to be able to flush that stuff and get it out of their system, and move forward and get ready for that the next opportunity.
Michael Tidd says bring Bellinger back next season. What say you, Coach? I say the version that we've seen of Tommy Edman, I would take that version over Cody Bellinger because Tommy Edman is hitting some home runs. But what I think Tommy Edman does for this team is he brings them speed, which Bellinger has speed too, but he brings them bat to ball skills. He brings them the ability to put the damn thing in play, which is something I just think is the perfect match for what this Dodgers roster needs with all the thump and swing and miss around him.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, I do think that, I like Cody Bellinger. His 2019 season, if you go look back at those numbers, it was phenomenal.
Especially early. He tapered off quite a bit as the season went on.
Yeah, it was just the overall, it ended up really well based on, really the first 2 months or 2.5 months. Amazing guy, amazing player. He's not the center fielder he used to be. His arm isn't what it was.
Right.
And he's not a player that I would want long term. Now, if you say, hey, we can have Cody Bellinger for a year, I'm more open to it, but it's not a guy that you want to lock into. It's kind of like these people going, give Teoscar a 5-year contract.
Yeah.
No. I can go get a power hitting outfielder, a corner outfielder a lot easier than I can get a starting shortstop.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like that. You got to spend that money wisely. And I love Teoscar, and I hope he comes back.
That's why they tried to move Mookie, because it was easier to get to duplicate his production with a corner outfielder than was to go find a second baseman that could be like Mookie.
Absolutely.
Dodgers fans never understood that. That was the whole idea behind that.
Yeah. I mean, just to have that versatility to go, I can do anything I want with Mookie, and it leaves me all that flexibility versus going, I'm going to just go get, say, a Rosarena, who I wasn't against at all, but to go, that's a left fielder. That's all it is. That's all I can do with him versus if I got a guy like Mookie. And to be honest,
and Edman,
when Mookie came back, he would have been at second base if Lux didn't get hot, in my opinion.
Right. Well, he was about a week away from that happening.
Yeah.
Lux, I think, was about a week away from getting optioned. I think it was that close.
I do too. I mean, it was, some of the conversations, offline that was happening. It's like, oh boy, this is not good. And now Lux, we just got to see him turn it on again. We know he's got it in him.
Yeah.
We saw it.
Quit platooning him. Let him play. That's the problem, is that he goes on a streak and then you take his ass out 2 out of 3 games. Next thing you know, he's out of rhythm. I hate that crap. Throw your analytics and punt that crap in the trash can and let a guy like Gavin Lux, who's marginal to begin with, give him a fighter's chance, man. That's kind of my point on that.
No, I agree. I mentioned it on my show yesterday. As soon as he started getting hot, they started platooning him.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell are we doing? Man, whatever.
Absolutely insane. And all you're doing is you're hurting the guy's confidence. You're just saying, I don't believe in you.
And rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. Rhythm is, gosh, that's so much.
Yeah.
for these guys, and especially for a guy who's just finally feeling like a good ball player for the first time since like mid 2022.
Yeah. I
And they
agree.
go and they wrecked his confidence. And some players can deal with that stuff, but not every
Who?
player's
I
a
mean,
robot.
what players have been good having to sit on the bench every 2 out of 3 games or 1 out of 3 games? I bet you Mookie Betts wouldn't be near as good.
Exactly.
Even Shohei Ohtani, I'll bet if you didn't DH him every single game, he wouldn't be near as good. It's all about rhythm. It's all about just the rhythmic waves of a season, allowing a player to ride the highs and the lows to end up in that even keel, which is exactly the player they are. That even keel is what they are. So if you try to take away the lows to get to all the highs, or then you cap off the highs by cutting him out at the knees and platooning him, then you're never going to get to that even keel of what the player actually is.
Exactly. And, a guy like Kike Hernandez goes, hey, give me some right-handed at-bats. Or left-handed at-bats, or a Jock Peterson or Randy Gretschik or whatever the guy's name is that he platoons with. Those guys know what they are.
Yeah,
they're
right.
Veterans.
They're just happy to be in the major leagues. They're not everyday starters.
They've got a chance to prove themselves, to prove that they can do what their limits are. Gavin Lux still has not had that opportunity. But I don't think it's a coincidence at all that they started platooning him and all of a sudden his numbers started going down.
The thing about Kike Hernandez that you don't realize is if he's successful 2 out of 10 times, he's being put in such huge situations that he's going to win 2 games for you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that he failed the other 8 times. Right? Whereas if a Gavin Lux as a starter fails 80% of the time, he's not a very good player for you at that point. Right. So, I mean, you're asking, the bar is totally different for what you need out of a Kike Hernandez or any kind of bench player than it is for a starter.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, Kike brings all sorts of value. We've seen that. He really started getting good at third base.
Yeah.
With all that regular time. And no surprise to me. It'll be interesting to see what role Kike Hernandez gets, because he does have some proven playoff. What was it, 2021 with the Red Sox?
Mm-hmm.
He almost single-handedly, took him to the promised land.
That playoff experience is why the Dodgers never even considered removing him from the roster this year.
Oh, yeah.
It was never a consideration, and it was solely because of that, in my opinion.
I agree. Yep. And I think even some of that, other than the money, also was CT3. But CT3's he's had playoff victories, but those guys are both very versatile. And between those two and Tommy Edman and Mookie Betts and even Miggy Rowe, you can do a lot with that short bench, because you only have 3 guys on the bench. I'm not counting the catcher, because Austin Barnes isn't going to start filling in at second base.
Well, and you got to keep a catcher in case you go extra innings. You can't.
Exactly.
Dave did that a lot early in his career. He'd pinch hit the second string catcher, and then I kept thinking, well, what the hell happens if this game goes extra innings and you don't have a catcher? He never really got burned from it, but I think he did learn that trick.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you have 3 guys on your bench, and you got to make the best use of them as possible. And with all that versatility, it provides that. That's why, I had a lot of arguments back and forth about, why did the Dodgers get rid of Hayward versus Taylor? And I think some of it came down to, he's a Dodger, but also that versatility that he does provide. And we don't know, some extra inning game in the playoffs, we don't know what position some guys are going to end up being, but it's good to have the versatility to go, oh, well, if I have to put Chris Taylor at third base, it doesn't hurt me, versus, oh, I have to go put Jerickson Profar at third base or something like that, which is, awful.
Yeah, Jason Hayward hit 208 with the Dodgers, okay? Nobody has any room to complain about Jason Hayward getting cut from the Dodgers. Nobody. Freddie, Jason himself, and you nobody's bigger proponents for the players than we are, Tim. So for me to make a statement as clear and concise as that takes something. If you want to be a part of the Dodgers World Series championship team and be a part of an organization that's all in, don't hit 208. And so since he's gone to Houston, 220, OPS 679, I understand that Chris Taylor is not great by any stretch at the plate, hasn't been for a while now. But if you have two players that neither one of them are worth a crap offensively, of which Jason Hayward and Chris Taylor, neither one of them have been worth the crap, then you at least go with the one guy that can give you multiple roles. So then that allows, so it's not about Chris Taylor hitting. Right. It's about, well, if I pinch hit this guy, I don't have to wait until the left fielder comes up because I've got Chris Taylor who can play any position on the field, so I can pinch hit anytime I want because I can put Chris Taylor wherever I want defensively. That's why you choose Chris Taylor over Jason Hayward. And to be honest with you, it's not even a hard decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it wasn't for me, that's for sure. That wasn't even – it was just interesting to have those back and forths on those types of things. And, you know, hey, Taylor, he was terrible at the beginning of the season for quite a while.
Yeah, he hasn't been good all year. Really. He got a little
bit
there.
Better, but it's still nothing where you go. Put it this way, I really hope Taylor doesn't have too many playoff at-bats.
Yeah.
If Chris Taylor's starting playoff games, I think we might have a problem.
That's what I'm saying. It won't be him pitch hitting, but it will be him going in on defense. So basically you're making one player out of two guys. Exactly. So you're pinch hitting somebody for the offensive side of it, but then you're bringing in Chris Taylor for the defensive side of it, where you can't do that with Jason Hayward because he only plays one position. So unless you're literally pinch hitting for a second baseman where you could move Mookie Betts to second base or the right fielder, Jason Hayward has no way of getting in the game off the bench.
Absolutely, yeah. And you go, well, what about he can play outfield? Yeah, he's a really good outfielder, but Andy Pages, if I'm going to go between Pages and Jay Hay, it's easy because at least Pages is hitting the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been pretty impressed with his at-bats lately.
No doubt about it. We have a large crowd, and we have really not gotten to many of the comments, and we're probably not going to get to most of them. I do apologize. I know, Tim, both you and I, we really take pride in making sure that not only do we just read the comments, we actually interact with our fans, because I know we've talked about this. We're doing this together with our fans. This isn't like, hey, we're all part of this all the same. So we're not going to be able to get to all these comments. It's already 7:30. I've already taken a lot of Tim Rogers' time up. It's 5:30 on the Pacific Coast, at 7:30 my time. So we've already been going an hour. You can tell my Dodgers dogs are already just about to lose their mind behind me because it's time for Daddy to take them for a walk. It's like their internal time clock knows when Daddy's supposed to get off the air, and I got to take him for a walk, right? So, hey, Tim, I know you haven't been feeling very good as of late. We were supposed to do this last Sunday. Yep. I'm so glad, first of all, that you're feeling better and that you're able to join tonight.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I got hit hard last week, and my wife is finally recovering today.
Great.
My goodness, it was tough, but it was really good to be back. I did a live yesterday for the first time in a while. It's great to be back with you, Casey. We got a lot of interesting things coming up over the next 2 weeks where we're going to be either really.
We need to get on with each other more often.
Yeah, And we talked about that a little bit before I went on vacation and all that. Try to do maybe every other week, something like that.
Definitely. Me on your show, you on my show, where we're on together once a week.
Yeah, we should, especially as we go through these playoffs and things.
Yeah,
like that.
I agree.
And, there's no doubt that we should. We'll text afterwards and we'll figure it out what we want to do. And of course, folks, we have to find availability. Just myself to even find time to get on, but it's
this is a hobby. We lose money at this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I tell you, man, my YouTube earnings are under double figures.
It's way less than one trip to Dodger Stadium. I promise you that.
It is. Yeah, I'm not getting that Yamamoto Shohei love that we were getting in December and January.
Absolutely.
My goodness, that was a good one. But I think they have things to say. I'll try to do a live sometime pretty soon. I'm sure Casey. When do you usually go on, Casey?
We go on. Austin goes on Mondays, and then we have a Wednesday, Friday, Sunday feed. I try to make those three, and then we also have our morning show. So we try to go on 4 days a week. I can't remember the last time we actually went on all 4 days in a week because, the Dodgers may be playing on Sunday Night Baseball or like they're on the East Coast, like they have been. And so like a Friday show is not feasible, something like that. So we target 4 days a week. Obviously, me being 2 hours ahead of West Coast time, a post-game show for me is not feasible because the Dodgers, my time, are finishing like at midnight. Now, when I retire here in 3 years, that might very, very well be feasible. But then I also like to, have that down on the farm deal, and that takes quite a bit of time to put together. So I'd rather wait for the morning for those. But, yeah, we try to go 4 days a week.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm just trying to get one a week right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd love to come on your show sometime. Like I said, we need to do this. We need to do this at least once a week as we move forward and get that next World Series championship in the bag, because I am so damn tired of hearing baseball fans, Dodgers fans included, talk about how 2020 is not legit, which I think you and I both agree it is legit, but I think we'd both agree that if the Dodgers win this year, I think for some weird reason it would add validation to that championship for Dave.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they get a World Series, another World Series win. I think Dave Roberts and Andrew Friedman are now Hall of Famers.
I've said that before too, and people are like, what in the hell are you talking about, Dave? I'm like, just look at some of the managers that are in the Hall of Fame. I agree totally, Tim.
And Stan Kasten too.
Yes.
There's legacy, folks. So I'm hoping those guys understand that. And the fans deserve the parade down Figueroa, which we were robbed of in 2020. And we were robbed of it in 2017. Let's never forget that. You want to piss me off?
Damn, Tim, you've been bringing up Lance Lynn 2017. What the hell are we doing, man?
We need that parade. I think that parade would do a lot of healing. I really do. No, I've talked with D-Mac about that too.
Yeah.
We need that parade.
We do.
I think the fans, they really need that, and that would help a lot. And it just really would cement a lot of things. So maybe it ain't this year, but why not this year? That's where I'm at.
I'll tell you another thing that would happen too. I've said this a million different times. If you win that first one with this crop of Dodgers, you're probably going to win 3 or 4 because that first one's going to be the hardest one to win. This playoff, I cannot even explain to people how pressure-packed this playoffs is going to be. These playoffs are going to be for the Dodgers, just because the Dodgers actually aren't, as we know as Dodgers fans, that our roster has holes in it. But if you're sitting in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or in Washington, all they know about the Dodgers is they spent $1 trillion in the offseason.
Yep.
Right? So anything short of a World Series championship, we're a bunch of chokers. Okay? Now, like I said, we know the nuances of what's happened to this roster. I promise you, no other organization or no other fan knows what we know about the roster and how many holes it has in it, nor do they give a rat's ass. Exactly. So there's going to be a ton of pressure on these guys, and if they can just win that first one, it takes all that pressure off, and I think at that point they can relax and start expecting. I think you're going to open that. If you can get that can open, kind of like scoring that first run in a game. Once you get that, you can get that first run, you relax. Now you might win 2 or 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, I agree. Now's the year. Now's a good year to start that, because it would be, in some way, I go, this team is not the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
But then again, I go, well, who is?
Yeah.
Because I think it's wide open this year. It really is. I think it's very wide open this year.
I'd agree, but I think the Dodgers still have the best roster. But that's if Flaherty and Yamamoto pitch to their capabilities, and they are both the aces that we signed them to be. Make no mistake, Flaherty and Yamamoto were signed with the Dodgers to pitch like aces. Okay, so if they do exactly what they were signed to do and pitch like aces, and they win, the Dodgers have the best roster.
Yeah. Playoff batting lineup. I love their lineup. I think the bullpen's not as deep as I'd like. And, of course, the starting pitching's not as deep. But if they follow the math, follow the Casey Porter math, they're going to be good to go.
I agree. Tim, hey, it's great to see your face there. It's great to talk to you again. It just seems like we get on and, like, we get to talking, and the next thing you know, it's already over an hour. And I'm like, where in the hell did time go? So it's always a lot of fun when I get to talk to you. So, hey, thanks so much for joining, man.
Yep, definitely, and I'll get a hold of you, and we'll plan it. Let's get a time for next weekend sometime.
Fantastic. For everybody out there, I want to thank you for tuning in. We had just a gigantic crowd tonight. thank you so much. Always appreciate all the Dodgers dogs out there. And until next time, it's a great day to be a Dodger.